we didn't do what we needed to do coming in here, and it wasn't for lack of effort. We didn't make enough plays, didn't do enough job getting them ready, and so you hung around, and then we turned the ball over late, and you do that, you'll lose. This one stings. But we got to get back, and find a way, and we got to get back in the win column. But not the result we expected.
Inside the Nest, an Atlanta Falcons audio experience. Here is your host, Craig Green.
Touchdown Atlanta.
Terrible weather, terrible play, terrible result, terrible day. Welcome inside the Nest. I'm your host, Craig Green. Let's get into it. So as always, let's give a shout out to AtlantaFalcons.com and credit them for the sound of Arthur Smith's post-game press conference after the Falcons drop an inexplicable one to the lowly, miserable, last place, one-win Carolina Panthers by the result of 9-7 at Bank of America Stadium. That loss drops the Falcons to 6 wins and 8 losses on the season. Panthers go up to 2-12. Falcons unable to keep up with Tampa Bay and New Orleans in the NFC South. Things getting extra tight, and also maybe a formality that they may miss the playoffs, depending on other results in the wild card aspect of the NFL playoffs. So injury updates. The Falcons were without Caleb McGarry and Chris Lindstrom on the offensive line. Also without David Onyemata and Bud Dupree defensively. On offense, Matt Collins was back from an ankle injury but was inactive on game day. The rain, the wind, just made for an awful atmosphere. Not a lot of fans went to the game, made national headlines for the low attendance, but the tickets distributed number getting out there saying over 70,000, but clearly in the stands probably felt more like 10,000. So this game was pretty miserable. Don't know how the Falcons lost this game whatsoever. They had no business losing to the Carolina Panthers. They are an NFL team. They do have NFL players, NFL coaches, college-educated people up and down the Panther sideline, as do the Falcons, but come on. You couldn't do better than 7 points on the road against this team. That is pretty bad. So let's go ahead and get into the statistics from this game. First downs, 17-12 Carolina. Third down efficiency, Falcons were 6 of 13, Panthers were 5 of 15, so give the edge to Atlanta for being closer to 50%, while the Panthers were at 33%. Both teams failed on fourth down, Falcons once, Carolina twice. Total plays ran 63-51 Carolina. Total yards 283-204 Carolina. Yards per play 4.5 to 4.0 Carolina. Passing yards 154-152 Carolina. Rushing 129-52 Carolina. In the red zone, the Falcons were 1 of 2. Carolina was 0 of 3. Both teams committed 4 penalties. Panthers 4 for 35, Falcons 4 for 25. Turnover battle, once again, lost by the Falcons, 0-2 in favor of Carolina. 2 really costly turnovers by Bijan Robinson first and Desmond Ridder second is what killed the Falcons ultimately at the end of this game. Time of possession, this edge went to Carolina based on the final drive of the game, 33-56 to 26-04 in favor of the Panthers. Paid attendance, in terms of tickets distributed, 70,301, saying it was 95% capacity. There weren't that many people at the game. Falcons were favored by 2.5 points. If you had the under, you covered. If you took the Panthers, you also covered. So for the Falcons, box score-wise, they were led, question marks, by Desmond Ridder, 12 of 20, 152 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, was not sacked. So 60% completions for 152 yards, not bad. However, the interception was easily, and as he said, post-game, was the dumbest play of his career. I would probably agree to that. Trying too hard to do some Patrick Mahomes stuff, and it just did not work out. Tyler Algier led the Falcons in rushing this day, 14 carries, 45 yards. He also caught 1 pass for 6 yards. Bijan Robinson, a non-factor today. 7 carries, 11 yards. Caught 1 pass for 3 yards. Cordero Patterson, 5 carries, -2 yards. Desmond Ridder, 5 carries, -2 yards. Receiving-wise, it was Jonnu Smith, 2 catches, 61 yards. Kyle Pitts, 3 for 37. Drake London, 3 targets, 2 catches, 24 yards. Kadero Hodge had 1 catch for 10 yards. Tucker Fisk was targeted, caught a pass for 9 yards. Van Jefferson targeted, did not make a catch. And defensively, the Falcons were led by who else but Jesse Bates III, 10 tackles, 5 solo. He was followed up by DeMarco Helms, 8 tackles. 3 of those were solo as well. Falcons did record 3 sacks on the day. Calais Campbell, Taquan Graham, and Zach Harrison getting his first sack as an NFL player after being drafted from Ohio State this past spring. Kicking-wise, Younghoe Koo did not attempt a field goal, just attempted the extra point on the touchdown by Cordero Patterson. Just a awful, awful day. So we'll go over the quick scoring summary. Not a lot to it. So first quarter, Falcons draw first blood, in the second quarter. Cordero Patterson takes a 2-yard shovel pass from Desmond Ridder, the shortest pass you'll ever see. But either way, it's a completion for Ridder, a 2-yard touchdown pass. Cordero Patterson scores. Younghoe Koo makes the extra point. 3 plays, 63 yards in 1 minute and 17 seconds. That one was aided by a big, big play to Jonnu Smith for 56 yards. That set the Falcons up inside the 7-yard line. So Panthers come back with 22 seconds left in the second quarter. After a 12-play, 60-yard drive that lasted 4 minutes, 27 seconds, Eddie Pinheiro hits a 34-yarder. Halftime score 7-3. No scoring in the third quarter. Fourth quarter, Pinheiro makes 2 field goals, the first of them with 13:32 to go on the clock. A drive that started in the third quarter, 6 plays, 17 yards, 2 minutes, 54 seconds. This was after the Bijan Robinson fumble. They make that field goal. Carolina still trails 7-6. Falcons driving down the field, trying to pad their lead, get it away from a field goal or less to beat them. Instead, Desmond Ridder throws a god-awful interception, trying too hard to make a play, right into the guts of a Panthers defender. And from that moment on, the Panthers drove 90 yards down the field with the final 7 minutes and 35 seconds of the game. Let me say that again. The Falcons defense was on the field for the final 7 minutes and 35 seconds of this game and could not get off the field against the Carolina Panthers. I understand being tired. I understand the effort they put in earlier, but you couldn't force a long third down. You couldn't get a sack. And you couldn't even force a fourth down. So a lot of folks want to put this on the quarterback and on the head coach. I'm sorry. The defense has to own it too. You have got to get off the field against this team. You've got to. So this is a complete team loss, and it was a complete disaster. So 17 plays, 90 yards, 7 minutes, 35 seconds. Eddie Pinheiro hits a field goal from 23 yards out as time expires. Your winners, the Carolina Panthers, 9-7 at Bank of America Stadium. All right, so time to talk about the good and the bad from this game. Was there any good? Nothing really. I guess you could say that it was nice to see Cordero Patterson get a touchdown and that the defense held Carolina to 3 field goals. Zach Harrison got his first career sack. Really, that's about it. The bad much outweighs the good in this one. Bijan Robinson's 3rd lost fumble of the season came at a crucial time. It led to Carolina points, put them right in prime area to kick a field goal. Desmond Ridder's 10th interception of the season, just at the absolute worst time. You're literally inside Carolina's 20-yard line. You could run out for that play. Ridder could have thrown it into the ground. He could have ran out of bounds. I mean, hell, even if he took an intentional grounding penalty right there, that would have been better than what he did. The Falcons still would have had a field goal attempt. And if Carolina blocks it, they block it. If Koo misses, he misses. You deal with that there. But Ridder made the worst possible mistake in that moment. and it cost his team. So then, like I said, the worst part of it all was the defense allowing the opponent to score on a game-winning drive for the fourth time this season. They couldn't get off the field for the final 7 minutes of regulation. Again, this is the fourth time the Falcons defense has been asked to get a stop to seal the deal in winning time, crunch time, and win this game. They failed 4 times. Let's count those 4 times for those of you who were not keeping track. Arizona, Minnesota, Tampa Bay the week before, and now Carolina in this game. All games in which the Falcons held the lead late, where one stop would have essentially ended the game and they would have come away with the victory. Despite the mistakes by the offense, despite the inefficiency of the offense, despite Desmond Ridder not making the best decisions with the football. Each of those 4 games, the Falcons still had a chance to win at the end, and the defense was unable to get off the field against the 30th ranked total offense in the NFL. The 30th ranked total offense. Against a rookie QB who has been struggling all year long. I mean, this is very, very concerning. Because if the Falcons do make the playoffs, a team that can play defense like they do for, we'll say 3.5 quarters, and a team that can run the ball like we've seen them do is very, very dangerous. However, when it's time for the quarterback to throw the football, and it's not just Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke's had some poor moments as well. But offensively for the Falcons, it's been a struggle far too often. And this game was another indication of that. So not sure what has to happen for the Falcons to muster more than single digits going into the fourth quarter, a respectable double-digit number going into halftime, but they've got to get it fixed soon. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves on the outside looking in of the playoffs again for the 6th time in a row. All right, so up next, the last home game of the season, Christmas Eve against the Indianapolis Colts. It's at 1 o'clock on Fox. Of course, the Colts are led by Gardner Minshew at quarterback. Their head coach is Shane Steichen, who is the former offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, coming over, taking the job after Frank Reich was fired. They're also led by Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss at running back. They have Michael Pittman at wide receiver. They are a team that is not great at anything, but good at a lot of things. And they're hot right now, too. Coming into the game, the Colts had won 5 out of the last 6 games. They did lose to Pittsburgh at home, 30-13. But aside from that, they had beat Tennessee, Tampa Bay, New England, and Carolina. They had won 4 in a row before the Cincinnati loss and defeating Pittsburgh. So a lot of folks not going to pick the Falcons to win this game based on what they've seen the last 2 weeks. But this is a chance for the Falcons to get their face back, stay on track in the NFC South, and avoid a potential elimination situation in Week 17. All right, so we're going to call it good there. Thanks so much for listening to this Atlanta Falcons audio experience. Want to invite you to follow me on social media, as we always do. Facebook, Instagram, X, Snapchat, YouTube, and Threads at Craig G Sports. Please like, subscribe, download, and share this podcast with any Falcons fans you know and any football fans you know. And we'll be back very, very soon with a review of the Colts game. So until we come back and talk about the Dirty Birds taking on the Colts, this is your guy CG. Happy holidays, sayonara, and buenos noches.